right, welcome back to the Queer Economy. Today we're talking with Breanna Stone, a solo developer and creator of the new app Get Adulting, a resource for navigating the complexities of adult life, especially for neurodivergent individuals. So we'll dive into all things related to Breanna's incredible story. Breanna, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So excited to hear more about your story and what led you to where you're at today. So to start, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background's actually in marketing. I've been working in digital ads for almost 7 years now. I currently work for an apartment management company, so I manage all of our national properties and all of the campaigns they run. But my passion in the last year really has been for an idea that I had, which was basically there's not an actual guide for life. You just kind of have to rely on the adults in your life or Google. And I wanted to create an app that encompasses all of that education while also having reminders and everything needed to kind of help you be a better adult. I'm very excited to talk a little bit more about it. And I also am finishing up my degree in game business and esports. So I'll have my bachelor's in about 2 months. So I'm very excited to see where that takes me as well.
Amazing. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey that led you to the idea of the app itself. What made you decide on doing an app and the path that took you there?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the idea from the app stemmed from lots of mistakes. One being I didn't get my oil change when I needed to, and I kept delaying it, and then I needed to get a new engine at that point because it went out while I was on the freeway and disrupted everything. And so that was one part. And then another part was my girlfriend got into a car accident. Thank God she was okay. But she was very overwhelmed with like what to do. She had to call her parents and like calling people, freaking out how to handle the situation in the moment. I think there was just a combination of things where I wanted like a resource that could help you kind of walk through these things. And honestly, an app was the best solution for that. For the car accident example, in the actual app, in the My Garage section, there's an accident guide, there's a call 911 button, there's a checklist that you can walk through of everything you need to do, take pictures, exchange insurance, little tidbits, and it just gives you all the like reassurance when you're in that moment, including like calming copy to kind of help you calm down. And that was one of the things really that stemmed from my girlfriend's experience that I took personally and created a solution that can help her, but also a lot of other people in that situation. And that's just one little feature. So there were a lot of little things in my life that I really just wanted to kind of put together into one solution, and the app was the best for that.
Developing an app as, a solo developer, a solo creator is no small feat. And so what was that journey like? Once you're like, okay, this is my idea, this is the app, now I'm developing, I'm creating it. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few different routes that I attempted to go through. I think, firstly, I like a drag and drop app builder, which I quickly found out was more so just like a mobile website, more than like a functional app with the functions I was looking for, like notifications and things like that.
Yeah.
The next step was a Kickstarter, and I quickly realized that very few people would want to actually invest in an app that's not complete. And it's hard to be able to find that foundation for something that's just an idea at that point.
Yeah.
And so I went into researching, looking on Reddit, and talking about what would creating an app actually look like. Again, the whole idea kind of came from a selfish place, is like this solution would be perfect for me. And then I quickly realized it would be helpful for so many people. I have an iPhone, so I started looking into Xcode, which is Apple's official like coding software for their apps, and just learn from there. The good thing is the app itself, functionality wise, is basic. It's just notifications and information. It's not like a game or something incredibly advanced that takes a lot of time. So I had also created websites in the past, so I had some experience with margins and playing around with padding and doing all that kind of stuff. I also have experience with some minor coding with like adding analytics tags and little things like that. So it wasn't completely brand new to me, but it was something that I had to learn. And through Reddit and lots of Google searches, it definitely helped create the solution that I was looking for.
Amazing. And when did the app officially launch?
The end of April, I think April 26th.
While we're here, give us the plug. Where can our viewers find the app? What app stores, what, all the things?
Yeah, so right now it is only on the Apple App Store. I do hope to get it on Android, but unfortunately that does require recoding the whole thing, so it might be a lengthier process. But it is on the Apple App Store. You can search the name Get Adulting or even just Adulting, it should pop up. You'll know it's the right app by the insane amount of purple color that you will see, but don't worry, once you download the app, you can change the colors. You can customize the app entirely how you want. That was another big feature that I wanted to make sure is included. But it is available on the App Store. It is $1.99 a year, and there's a 7-day free trial.
Awesome.
So there is a cost, but I tried to keep it as low as possible. Definitely didn't want to do like a monthly amount. And then there is a 7-day free trial. So you're definitely welcome to check it out. Make sure it's the right fit for you.
Awesome. Honestly, keeping an app up and running takes some time and resources. So makes sense to have a little bit of a fee to keep it going.
Yeah, definitely.
So along the way, and I'm interested to hear if you're anything like me, when I get an idea, I can't shut up about it. Like I tell so many people, and then sometimes the follow through takes me a little bit longer and people get excited. So then they're asking me questions. How's this going? How's this going? And I'm like, oh, I actually moved on to a different idea. Once you decided making an app, did you tell a ton of people or did you kind of quietly just do it?
So everything that I posted before the launch was on my stories. I never created an actual post. So on Instagram, if you saw my story, then that's like the only info that you got. But I tried to make it as interactive as possible. When I first started coding it, I did one of those little questions. It was like, would you use this app? And a lot of people engaged and said yes. And then a few weeks later, what's another feature I could add? And so there was a lot of interaction I had with my followers and friends and trying to see like what would work for them, what would they like to see. And that's definitely something that helped me even before the launch. I was able to do a few weeks of beta testing with them. So they were able to download it on their app before it was even on the App Store. And they loved that because they would be like, oh, you should add this. And then I did. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's my idea on the app. So it was really great to kind of get that early connection.
So great. It's crazy to think that we didn't, like, there's not really apps like this right now. And
Yeah,
we
that
really
was a
do
big
just
thing that I did. I like did some research and I think there's a few apps that are similar-ish, but a lot of them are either too focused on the education, it's just a bunch of videos, which isn't really as receptive, or it's like only focused on one thing. This app does your car, your health, your pets, mental health, everything. So it's definitely part of my, before I even got started and doing all the work, to make sure I wasn't trying to copy someone and creating an actual solution that wasn't there already.
It's so cool to hear you list off all of those things you just mentioned of it's all in one place and
Yeah.
it's easy.
Yeah.
Well, along the way, who have been some of your biggest supporters?
I would say definitely my girlfriend. Again, part of the idea really came from her and her experience. She is getting her degree in English and is an incredible writer, so she also helped me edit all of the copy. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just educational, but also like reassuring. So in the Adopt a Pet section, which gives you tips on adopting a pet, it's like, thank you for considering adoption over buying. And in the accident guide, it's like, okay, calm down, take a breath. Here's the things you need to do. It's okay. Even if it's your fault, it's okay. We will work through it. And so there's really that reassuring tone throughout the app. And that was a big part of what I wanted that education to feel like. And she helped me immensely edit. Several hours spent just combing through every single line of the copy. But she was incredible and has been my biggest supporter for sure.
That's amazing. What would your younger self, early teenage self, think if they saw, here's where we're at today?
Honestly, they would be blown away. I come from a religious background, and so even the idea of just me living with my girlfriend would be insane. But the next step of having my own app and being out there, I think it would reassure me. I think there would be a moment of like shock to my younger self, but then there'd immediately be a moment of safety and comfort, knowing that that's my future.
I love that. It's always crazy to look back and go, I don't think I ever could have imagined this future for myself, but I'm so happy with where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah, it
makes
feels
such a
incredible.
difference. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit into your journey as a queer individual. What was your experience like coming to terms with who you are, coming out, all of those different pieces?
Yeah, absolutely. So I came out maybe about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago at this point, to my friends. And then I only came out last year to my family. So that has been a little bit of a recent adjustment. I'm thankful that I still am close with my parents. It was an adjustment for them, again, because we have that religious background. But they've been incredibly supportive. Even my girlfriend's parents are actually lead pastors in a church, and they're completely on board, which was very scary meeting them for the first time, as you can imagine. But it's been incredible. I met my girlfriend early January last year. Now we live together, and it's truly been so incredible just to be me. I feel like I've been not unknowingly had this like mask on throughout my teenage years, and a lot of stress and angst really came from just not being myself, but I hadn't really known what myself was. And so kind of learning that over the years through my friends, through my community, and through my relationships has truly been life changing, and I feel like it's also helped me professionally.
You touched on a lot of incredible things when it comes to, relationships and acceptance, both of yourself and from the people around you. So I'm interested to know if someone was watching this episode right now and was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like I have this mask on. I feel like I'm, going through the motions, but not fully experiencing life as me. What would be your message to them? What kind of advice would you share?
Well, assuming they're like me, who's a chronic people pleaser, a lot of what I had a mask was because I wanted to make other people happy. I didn't want to disrupt my family and possibly have people disagree with me and lose that relationship. I didn't know how some of my friends at that time felt, and so I really just wanted to keep my life the way it was. And I didn't realize in doing so that I was hiding myself. And so I think the biggest piece of advice I have is like anything that reacts negatively to you being authentic wasn't meant for you in the first place. So you just need to be authentic, and you just be you, and the right things will come to you.
I couldn't have said it any better. That's so true. While we're on that topic, we've talked about your app, we've talked about your identity. Have you had any experiences, positive or negative, being a queer person in a professional setting? You talked about your 7 years in marketing. What has it been like being yourself in a professional setting?
Yeah, I think I'm very grateful for my current job, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. But previously, in my last job, there was that hesitation to be myself. I think I was the only queer person in the entire company. That comes with this added layer of pressure. People talking about their partners, and I'm like, do I say something? What if that changes how you view? What if leadership doesn't agree, and that somehow can reflect on my work position and how they treat me? And so there was a lot of hesitation around that. But I was laid off. One of the biggest moments that I remember was looking at my LinkedIn, and I was looking at the picture, and it was me from maybe like 3 years ago, and I still had like my longer hair, and I was still very like girly presenting. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it didn't really resonate with how I felt now. And I was very scared to update my headshot for it to be something that's like more reflective of who I am in this moment. But I remember I did it, and I felt very proud in the moment. And probably unrelated, but still, a few weeks later, I got my new job, and it's where I'm currently at. And they are incredible. I remember getting onto the interview, and the person interviewing me is my current manager, and he's queer. And so I instantly felt safe and like able to talk through the conversation. And I think that really helped me. And ever since then, like this company has been incredible. And I think that speaks a little bit to what I was saying earlier, that if they react negatively, then it's not right for you in the first place. And so I think this job, being authentic and being who I really am there, has truly been incredible. This company, especially with everything going on right now, doubled down with their DEI efforts, and they have monthly meetings for women, for queer, for neurodivergent groups, and all these people to meet within the community. So it's really great.
That's incredible. There's just something exhausting about going to work and being worried about work and being worried about being accepted. And can I talk about my personal life in the same way other people do? And just that code switching that we naturally do to make sure that we have a job and that we have good performance reviews, and to know that, things aren't taken personal just because of our queer identity. And I've experienced that too. And if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that when I'm able to be open and to be myself and to talk about my life, similar to the other coworkers, I'm way more creative. I perform tons better in the job, and I'm less tired. Like I
Yeah.
can just get in, I can do my job. That extra wall and that extra stress isn't there. So I'm so happy to hear that your current role offers that.
Yeah.
And, the addition of having other queer coworkers is an extra bonus, and it's just
Yeah.
really helps.
I can definitely agree. It was incredibly draining at my last job. I was an account manager, so part of my job was like reporting to clients and getting on these meetings frequently. And there was a time where I really just felt like my confidence was diminished because I just couldn't be myself and I was just going through the motions and my personality really wasn't there, and I think that really affected kind of how I view myself and my confidence. And this new job, the app, my new relationship, it's all been helping me kind of rebuild that back up. And so I'm really thankful for that.
Through all of these journeys and experiences that you've had the last really 4 or 5 years, especially, do you have like a specific quote or mantra that you live by or you continuously come back to?
I always kind of think of the first moment before I launched the app, and it was just this fear of being seen, perceived, putting something that I worked for months on out there, and people can just download it and do whatever they want with it. And when it's on the App Store, like I don't necessarily have a say anymore. People can just happen upon it with searching, and so there's that level of vulnerability. And I think one of the things that I had told myself is like, you can't build something great if you're too afraid to begin. So I can't put all this work into the app, and if I'm too scared to actually publish it, then sure, I am saving myself from possibly that publicity, but at the same time I'm also restricting myself from possibly supporting and helping so many other people. It's just like that famous saying, like, do it scared. Just take the progress. It doesn't need to be perfect, and just do what you can. And it's really been helpful for me.
Yeah, that resonates really well with me as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so the app is live. It came out in April in the Apple App Store. People are downloading it, people are using it. Where is the app headed next? What does that look like? What are your plans for adding new features? And what's your long-term plan with it?
Yeah, so I think there's a few different parts to that. One of the biggest parts of my app is that it's offline. And that means you put in your data, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't go to a server or a cloud, so all your info stays on your app. What that means is that, like, if you get a new phone, you have to make sure you download your data so everything transfers over. So there's that little bit of barrier there. But my goal with that is to make sure that all the information is safe. And my next step would be, I want to add a budgeting section. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with budgeting apps, but most of them nowadays connect directly with your bank. And that's not something that I ideally want to do. I kind of have a little bit more manual in mind, but that way it's a little bit more disconnected. So that feature-wise is something that I want to do. I think that will be the next big feature. But something I've been doing since launch is reaching out to a bunch of like mental health organizations, community colleges, just trying to share the flyer, because I definitely think this is the app that would help college students, especially. The UI itself, the way the app is created, really helps with neurodivergent individuals like myself, who can just help stay on top of things. Like if you're overdue for an oil change, then you'll have a little hazard icon that comes up and it stays there forever. Anything like me, I hate the little badge icons and I want to clear them. So you literally have to clear it by getting it done. And so there's little tweaks like that that really resonated with me while I was building it, but I also recognize that it resonates with other people. And so ideally, I'd love to just continue sharing that as a resource and continuing partnerships with colleges.
I can already think of myself and other people I know who would have loved to have this when they were in college and probably still could use it.
Yeah, one of the funny things is one of my managers actually uses the app all the time. And she was like, I literally use it daily. Like I didn't even realize that I needed this feature. And so it's really cool to see like something I created, again, kind of from a selfish place. This was a solution that worked for me. It was something that I wanted, but I, created it as a solution for everyone, and it's resonating. And I think that's incredibly powerful to me.
So if someone who's watching this downloads the app, starts using it, and then has an idea of a feature that they would love, what's the best way for them to let you know about that?
In settings, the little contact support button. So if you just click that, you'll email me directly and you can tell me any feature that you want, something you dislike, something you really like, whatever you want. I'm really responsive in that email box. So I think emailing directly would be the best.
So as you launched the app and identified new features or new updates, was there any moment along the way where you had some hesitancy or were unsure about if you should keep moving forward with certain items?
Yeah, absolutely. I think initially upon launch, looking at the app itself, it's not clear that it's created by a queer individual. And that wasn't intentional. I think there was just like not that opportunity to put anything there. However, in one of the recent updates, one of the things that I love about the app is a recipe section. So there's like conversion charts built in, so you always have access to that. There is cooking basics, so like how to defrost, how to cut, stuff that again, like you might not have been taught. And if you don't know what you don't know, what are you supposed to search for? And then there's also a recipe adjuster, so you can like double the amount or half the amount of your recipes so you can get the correct portion size. So everything's in one place for you. And a cute little idea that I had in one of my recent updates was to like add a preloaded recipe to it. And my girlfriend was incredible enough to give me her chocolate chip cookie recipe. But on that, at the very end, I say, with love, adulting app creator Bree and Delaney. And I think there was that hesitation there, like this kind of says that I am a queer couple, and like there is that hesitation that I had to add that.
Yeah.
But again, kind of ties back all the way to what I said before, where I really, if that pushes you away from the app, then I don't think you're the type of person that I want to have this app. Truly. Showing up as authentic as you possibly can has really been the motivation I have for the features that I add and for pushing through that fear.
I love that. And that really ties well into my motivation behind starting the queer economy. At the end of the day, all around the world, there are incredible queer individuals in so many industries and so many jobs. There's so much talent in the community and just an opportunity to shine a light on people like you who are recognizing a need in society and literally building a solution. You literally built a solution. It's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're getting to one of my favorite points in the interview, which is the rapid fire lightning round of questions where I'm just going to ask you a ton of things and short responses. These are just like fun questions. So what is your go-to comfort food?
Comfort food, pasta, for sure.
Pasta.
Yeah, I think any kind. My girlfriend makes from scratch Alfredo. That is insane. So that's probably my number one.
What is your go-to song right now?
Probably Three Boys by Omar Apollo.
If you had to take a 10-day vacation tomorrow, you're getting on a plane, where are you going and what are you doing?
Greece and reliving my Mamma Mia dreams.
Yes, I love that. That's perfect.
You're right.
What's your favorite season and or holiday during the year?
Definitely winter and Christmas. I'm in Phoenix right now, but I'd love to move somewhere like colder. I think ideally I'd love to like live in Washington or something like that, but I definitely love the cold weather. And then I'm that type of person that listens to Christmas music when I shouldn't. So I'm obsessed with Christmas.
Any time throughout the year, or do you have a time where you...
I'm trying to limit myself, but usually at least the last quarter of the year. But sometimes it is when I'm like just down or I just want to like have that extra little spirit. I will put a Christmas song on in May. It does happen.
And no one needs to be mad about it because it's her choice and it's her
Yeah.
music. Okay, you drive up to a gas station. What's your favorite gas station snack or drink?
I am a Diet Coke person for sure. So especially Fountain Diet Coke, that's peak. And then I do have a really bad sweet tooth. I like any gummy bears. It truly changes all the time. I wish I could give you a better answer. It's like whatever I'm in the mood for in the moment, you know?
What is one adulting task, like mundane, day-to-day adulting task that you secretly enjoy?
I'll be vacuuming. I love it. My girlfriend's quite happy with that fact because she hates vacuuming. But I just love it. It feels so clean and I hate like walking around and feeling stuff on my feet. We have cats, so there's pet hair all the time. And so, yeah, I just love it.
Okay, last question before we really wrap things up. You're in a building on like the 15th floor. The elevator comes, you get on, there's one other person in the elevator, and it's your younger self. So you've got a 30-second elevator ride to share with your younger self. What do you say?
Stop trying to please other people. Live for yourself. Find what makes you happy and just dive deeper into that. I think I spent so much of my younger years just catering to other people, and it really took a while to find myself. So just focusing on what makes you happy is what I would recommend.
I love it. Simple, direct, to the point. All right, that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure that you like, subscribe, and share with your people. Be sure to follow us on all major social platforms at The Queer Economy. Until next time, be kind, be bold, be you.